Well, good morning, everybody. We're welcoming you to the June face-to-face meeting. Just some housekeeping items, please. If you are,
and I got that pump out scheduled for today.
if you are on the line, whether you're on your phone or at your computer, if you could hit your mute buttons, if you're not talking or asking questions or engaging in the conversation, we would greatly appreciate it, so we can have everybody make certain we can hear who's speaking and who's talking. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jeff Schweitzer. I'm the new park president. I apologize for missing the one in May. I hear it went perfect. It went without a hitch. So thanks to the team that took the lead on that one for me. And generally how my approach has been with items like this is, this is the members' time. And so this is for you. You have any questions, topics that you would like to bring up, this is your time, and we're here to listen and support you, and then provide information as well. So I do kind of like a roll call from what I see on the phone here. Josh from our communications, he is here with us. I know Ginny Hager from the board of directors, she is on. We have I believe Rick Day Rick is on as well. And Kelly Johnson from our board, he'll be dialing in. In the room with me is Kimberly Williams, our CFO. And I believe I just saw Drew Torres from our public safety office dial in as well. So again, welcome everybody. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and we'll open it up for anybody that has any questions or topics they would like to discuss. Go ahead and unmute your laptop or your phone, and no comments, no questions. There's Mr. Johnson. Kelly just dialed in, so thanks for that, Kelly.
Yeah, thank you. Much better.
Okay, no problem. Well, while people are thinking about questions to ask, I will give a quick update on our park restart plan. We'll go through that, and that might spur some of the conversation. So again, just we've tried to over communicate. The team has done a really excellent job on our park restart plan. As everybody is aware, we are a licensed campground through the state of Michigan, and technically the campgrounds were closed through June originally. So our step one, we allowed our members access and received everybody in who was a member. The team worked hard to get the park ready and work with the Allegan County Health Department, the state, and our local township support. So that went well, and we were really one of the only campground RV parks in the state of Michigan. Actually, we were the only campground or RV park that had member access in May. And then we had limited capacity, limited access to some of the normal activities that we normally see through Sandy Pines. June, our step two, we started to see more of that activity take place. We have our food trucks in here. We started opening up some of the events as well. Our camping and member, associates are camping, and our guests, we started to allow back into the park. And really those were targeted, the guests and camping were really targeted for our third step, which starts July 1st. And again, the team working tirelessly with the state and the county and the township, got approval to fully open our park June 8th, which was well ahead of schedule. And so what we're seeing now is it's really good. This is my first year and driving through the park. We had garage sales. We had, it's vibrant. It's starting to be alive and active, and it's great to see, people on the beach, in the water, on their boats, swimming, kayaking. It's really a wonderful sight to see. So what do we have coming up? We have coming up this Monday, we have the approval. We have the approval from our health department to open up our pools. So the pools in phase 3 and the water park and the adult pool will be open starting the 22nd, which is this Monday. We are slowly opening those up, so we will have limited capacity. If you drive by those areas, you will see we have cones out there for lining up with social distancing 6 feet apart. The water park will have a 50%, a number of 50 people allowed in the water park, and in the adult pool, you'll have 20 people allowed. There's going to be a capacity at phase 3 as well, and we will rotate every hour. So if there's a line, you will come in one entrance, you'll exit through another gate to keep that separated, and then you'll have basically an hour to swim. Then after an hour, you'll hear a whistle or a horn blow. People have to get out of the pool, and then the ones that are in line that have been standing there will be rotated back in. And we have overstaffed. We have individuals at the gates with clickers. We do have lifeguards hired and certified, and so that was one of our constraints. We wanted to try and open that pool sooner. But this has all been approved by the health department to start slow and then see how this process works. And then we can increase that capacity after, a week or two to make certain that everything is flowing well. Some other items that you'll see out there, we are going to start July 1st. We will add back in the kids golf league at the golf course. We'll start July 1st, and we will that will be through the entire month of July. When we see historically in August, we start to see some of the kids taper off and start going into getting ready for school activity. So we're bringing that back. Fireworks, and that is a TBD right now. We have all the paperwork that was submitted really well in advance, right around the time when COVID started in March, when we started to get the stay-at-homes. That paperwork is still delayed. We are tracking that paperwork on a regular basis. For we want to have our fireworks show here. I already sat down with Fireworks Bob, so he's ready to go once we give him the okay and the green light. We are evaluating holiday tournaments. They're being reviewed. We know there's basketball tournaments, pickleball tournaments, shuffleboard tournaments. Nikki Hogewin and I will be sitting down later today and Monday to go over what events can we start adding back into the July calendar. And again, we're reviewing this every 2 weeks. We're talking to the health department to make certain they're good with our plan. And again, one of the concerns from the health department is we're such a close community here. They want to make certain that we're following the proper procedures and guidelines. So we are protecting our members and our associates and our neighbors in the surrounding communities. Another item that we're going to be doing in July, which is our third and final step of the plan, a lot of communication on our guest pass policy. So one, thank you to the members for taking that message, hearing it, following it, and talking to Keith Garvelink in our public safety office. We've seen a significant amount of increased pre-printed passes this year at this time. And that is a testament to the members that they believe in protecting our public safety office, and they heard the message, doing the right thing. We want to continue forward with that, the pre-printed, get it in our guests' windows. I've had a couple of guests come in as well. It's a very simple, easy process. Once it's pre-printed, put it in the window, you show up with that pass, you show up with, the guest shows up, puts the driver's license up against the window. There's no exchange at all. It's a review and thumbs up, gate opens. And feedback from the members has been, it has significantly increased the process of getting people through the gate faster. So you don't have to sit there, you don't have to do a paper exchange, there's no line backup. So it is working. However, there's members that have had some challenges with printers on site, and we have heard, because this is going so well, we're going to go back starting July 1st to our original guest pass policy. If you need to have it printed at the main gate, we are going to do that. We are removing, as we communicated, the temporary printing pass. And, the communication was $15. It's really $10 for the printing, and then the $5 for the guest to be in for the day. We're going back to our original cost. However, the guest, if we have to have that exchange, the guest in the vehicle must have a mask on when exchanging communication with our public safety office. If we have to provide a pre-printed, guest pass and they do not have a mask on, they will be turned away at the gate, and they'll have to get a mask and then come back in. So, board of directors and our face-to-face meetings, we're evaluating in July, opening up phase 1 pavilion and doing those face-to-face with our members at limited capacity, as well as social distancing. So once we get the green light from our health department to start opening those up, you'll see chairs spaced out appropriately for social distancing aspects. And our rental equipment, so pickleball, putt-putt golf, tennis, shuffleboard, our rental equipment, which has been not allowed out in the public right now. We sat down with our rec department. They have a good plan of sanitizing once that equipment is turned in, and pulling it in, sanitizing it, letting it sit overnight, and then putting it back into circulation. So you'll start to see a lot of the rental equipment be put back into circulation. And I guess the last topic that I have for the July 1st and our last plan, or our last step of our plan, is we're reviewing on Monday our ropes course. The delay in opening the ropes course was our rec department, when that area is staffed, they have to be trained and certified to make certain that our children in our park are protected and safety first. They just did on-site training this past week, and there's a couple more steps that we have to go through. So we're going to try and open our ropes course before July 1st, but worst case scenario, we would open that up around July 1st. So you're seeing a pattern here. We're trying to get back into normal business as usual in the park as close as we can by our holiday season, which is the 4th of July. That's our big one. I'll stop there, and I'll open it up again if anybody has any Any questions or comments, go ahead and unmute your phone or your laptop and we can take questions.
I have a couple questions that came up here.
Okay.
How do we know when the boat fueling station is open?
So good question. There is hours for the marina out on our weekly flyer, and it should be posted as well. We have communication Jack in Park and Garden. The marina falls under Jack. We do have some postings at the Park and Garden. Josh, am I missing anywhere else? If you're still on, am I missing any other communication avenues for boat fueling?
Yes, I was responding to that question too. Somebody had typed it into the post. So those are on the Park and Garden page. If you go to the members page on our website, it's got all our departments listed there. And it's the Park and Garden page is sandypines.com/Park and Garden. So on there are links to the store hours, the rental office hours for the golf carts, the boats, the kayaks, the marina, and all of that is right there on the Park and Garden page. And as Jeff said, they're also published on the weekly flyer. All of those hours are as well.
Good question. What other question? Another one pop up, Kimberly?
Yep, sure. Any thoughts on driver's test for 12-year-olds?
Great question. And I see Kelly Johnson smiling. So that was a topic of discussion at our board of director meeting yesterday as well. And that was the number one question that was written in for, the board and operations to address. Keith Garvelink and Steve in our public safety office and our emergency services office, we sat down yesterday, reviewed a plan. I would say we received 20 plus emails on this. And this is another great thing for what I like as far as working here at Sandy Pines and the park. We hear a lot of some negative type items because we aren't where we wanted to be this year. But this one, out of the 20 plus emails, I would say 99% of them were volunteers. How can we help? We'd like to get this back for our kids. So we reviewed a plan yesterday. We're going to finalize it on Monday. And then hopefully we can start scheduling appointments as early as, middle of next week, end of next week to kick this process off and get the kids the ability to do their written test and then go get their cards at public safety. So good question. That was the number one item.
Jeff, another comment here on the string. Somebody had mentioned the $15 fee for the guest passes. I don't think they had a specific question about it. They were more concerned with the price. Can you maybe just reiterate the reasons for putting that into place and also, specify that the $10, how the $10 is just for the printing and not for the guest pass?
Yes. So another good question. So when we sat down as a team, the thought process on the cost. If I get sick with COVID, Kimberly is my backup. If Kimberly gets sick, she has a backup. So we have backups in all of our departments, really with the exception of public safety. When you think about public safety, security, patrolling, first medical responders, EMTs, they have some critical training to keep our park safe. I heard first thing this morning that we had a cardiac arrest situation out on the golf course that our team responded to late yesterday afternoon, early evening. If any of those individuals in that office were to come down with COVID, one, it's a small office, so it'll spread quick. It could spread quickly through that office. And then two, we don't have backups for those individuals. So we are treating them a little bit differently. And the thought process was we want to stop as much as possible that interaction with that team from guests. And when you get into the season, and it's in the height of it. We have a ton of guests from camping to, again, I had a couple of guests come in this past weekend. We just wanted to halt that exchange and really force and tell the membership that there's a better way to do this. Go online, pre-print it. It's only $5. If we're going to take the risk of having our public safety officers engage in that kind of interaction, then we're gonna increase the cost. To really, it's not a money grab. We communicated that it was temporary, and it was really a deterrent. We wanted everybody to go into that pre-printed guest pass, which is $5. Now, with that being said, if you may have missed the earlier communication on guest passes, feedback from public safety has been the pre-printed is working phenomenal. People have heard that message. Significantly increased amount of pre-printed passes coming through the gate. It's helped with the speed and efficiency of getting our guests into the park. And we did communicate at the board of director meeting yesterday, as well as here this morning, that July 1st, we're going to remove that. $10 is for a printing charge at the main gate, and then $5 is your normal guest pass. So it's $15 total. We're going to remove that $10 print charge. We're going to go back to our normal cost effective July 1st. But guests have to have masks on when our team, they roll down the window and they engage in our team. And again, that's to protect our team. Hopefully that answered your question. Any other questions we have out there?
Next one I see is my golf cart plate status on members page states pickup. Does that mean that they're ready for pickup?
They are ready for pickup. However, we're reviewing with our public safety office the process, because again, this is going to have to go through our public safety team, and there's some interaction there. So we're reviewing that plan. A couple of the board members last night brought up a good idea of how we could test this plan. So we'll be reviewing with Keith and Steve, how do we test this plan and get the members their golf cart license plates. We want to get that done in July, so stay tuned to that. We'll give you an update.
Okay. And then a follow-up to the cart passes. I appreciate the feedback and understanding the thought process on printing of passes. Just so you're aware, the appearance was price gouging. I think better approach would have been, for safety reasons, that we would not be printing them. I think that was the intent we tried to portray to the members, and apologize if it came across any differently.
Yes, correct. Our approach, at least my approach, is always appreciate the feedback and the input, and we're always going to try and get better and use that feedback to improve things. So yes, it was not a price gouging. If we need to do a better job communicating that in the future, we will do that. So thank you.
And a follow. One
Kim?
more follow. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, real quick, I want to speak to that as well from the communications department. I know that when we try to convey that information, and I know in this instance as well, we always try to put that through our mission filter of the safety of our community. And I know that we always, again, try to say that the reason that we are making these changes and we're charging this is for the safety of our team. And through COVID, we've been sure, due to the sensitive nature of a lot of this, to say, why we're doing this, why it comes back to the safety of our community. I do think that the price gouging, to speak to that, I do see and I do hear a lot of the comments on social media. And I think with the increased use of social media, that perception becomes, the image of Sandy Pines. So I do think if you look at our communications closely, what we put out in the e-news, what we put out in the weekly flyer, what we put on the website, we we do state in those instances that we are making this for the safety of our team. We're not, price gouging and doing this just to make money. I see those posts a lot on social media as well, since I monitor our Facebook sites. So I think my only caution there is just make sure that everybody recognizes what our official park statements and communications are that we put out versus what you're seeing and reading on social media.
Well said. Thank you, Josh.
Another follow-up to guest passes. What about an electronic guest pass? Maybe it could be scanned through a car window.
Great question. And for not many, I'm sure, are aware, but one of the things that we kicked off earlier in the year, and again, everything has been sidetracked because of this little thing called COVID-19. We kicked off an IT assessment group within our staff and our team here. And that is an item that has come up multiple times. We are looking at the technology. We have received some quotes. We're not happy with the cost on those quotes, but that is something that we're working towards in the future to try and get. And yes, that would relieve a lot of the issues that we're seeing right now. So we're just not there yet.
We have another comment. There's supposed to be masks worn in the CCs, and during the board meeting of May 22nd, it said that PSO would be watching to make sure people would be wearing them. During the time that we have been opened, I've only seen one person wearing a mask in the CC during that whole time. When will the PSOs be taking action on this?
Yeah. So another good question. The PSO team is they unfortunately are not staffed to sit. One of the emails that I got on this was they're unfortunately not staffed to sit at every single CC and monitor people going in and out with or without masks. So that's number one. Number two, the public safety office. I have seen warnings come across my desk where they are reviewing and catching and having discussion with individuals. And then the last thing that I would say is when I'm not in the office and I'm driving around the park, one of the things that my personal frustration is we spend a lot of time and effort trying to communicate to the members that this is a serious issue, but this needs to be on the accountability of our members as well, that they have to do the right thing. And one thing that we've tried to do is put those postings on doors, in the window boxes, at the CCs. And I can personally attest that I have driven around to all of the CCs and replaced signs multiple times where they've been torn down by our members because there's just a lack of respect from some of our members. So one, my message is we're doing the best that we can. We're not going to catch everybody. Two, we need to make certain that our members take this seriously as well. And we try to over communicate and we try to post and make certain that they understand that masks need to be required in order to go in those CCs. We'll try and continue to do a better job of that, but we're not going to catch everybody. Thank you for the question. Good question.
Another one, I heard the info on the water park process, but may have missed the adult pool update. Will we still be swiping cards to gain access?
Yes, you will be swiping cards and we will have a counter down at the adult pool guest access as well. So really what we're going to try and do is anybody that needs to go into the water park with their children, whether they're using the pool or not. Let's say I have a family of 4. I don't want to go in the water, but I have three kids with me. That will be counted as 4 because it's not who's using the pool, or who's using the splash pads, things of that nature. It's total capacity in that area. So we're going to try and have anybody that wants to be in the water park will be up top by the rec building, and you'll see lines up there, and then adults will be down at that gate where they can still swipe in, and we'll continue to count and monitor those and rotate every hour.
Hey, Jeff, just as a reminder, we will not, if I'm not mistaken, we will not at this time have chairs out, but the guests are welcome to bring their own. Is that correct?
That is correct. Recommendation, strong recommendation from our health department is do not put any chairs out there. It's going to be hard to sanitize, rotate them in and out. So if you need to have a chair and you want to sit, yep, bring your folding camping chair, things of that nature. Kids, I've seen kids at that splash pads just lay on their towels anyways to lay in the sun. But you're right, Kelly, good point. There will not be any chairs or equipment out there. So
Next question.
any other questions?
Can you help us understand why masks are required when the CDC says they're recommended? Also knowing some people cannot wear them for health reasons, not trying to be difficult, just trying to understand.
Right. So good question. That's, as we sat down as an organization, we feel that stating required versus recommended is in the best interest of our community and our staff. That's really the difference. We've gotten that question a lot. Well, the CDC says this, but we're doing that. It's really the direction of our organization, how we want to go.
Jeff, I also would like to add to that, Josh here in communications, and something that I'll touch on in some of our ongoing communications is just a reminder that, you know, the masks are designed not to protect the person wearing them, but to protect others around them. It's not to keep things out, but to keep things in. So I think just remembering that even though, you know, certain individuals may feel comfortable or don't feel that it's necessary wearing masks, it's really the others around you, and some of those others you may not know have existing health conditions, and I think that played into the equation as well. So just be cognizant of that when you're out and about. It's, you know, it's the comfortability and also the health and well-being of others that can be impacted by individuals not wearing masks.
We have a comment from our member service. Thank you for wearing your mask at member service. There are thousands out there and only 3 of us up front. So
Great comment.
we appreciate that. We have another one. If the pool is going to be very busy, what about setting up appointments? Maybe a 1-hour appointment.
We had thought about that. And again, that's why we're starting slow with opening the pool on Monday. The thing that we discussed about appointments, and we're not taking that off the table. We chose to go down this path of lining up first and see how that works. The things that we've seen with appointments here in member service, as well as at our public safety office, you know, you're going to get 30% of the people not showing up for that appointment. Something came up. You know, I chose not to do it. So we're gonna try the lineup method first and see how that works. And then if we need to adjust accordingly, we can adjust accordingly. Because if somebody signs up in that time slot, if we, again, to expand on that a little bit further, if we put a Google sheet out there for access to the membership and you sign up in your slot, if somebody's there, I can't take my slot because somebody's there and then they don't show up. You're kind of taking that spot away from somebody that wants to be in it, that is going to show up. Hopefully that makes sense. Next question. That's it.
Yep, that's it as of right now.
Josh, you have any other questions that you're seeing?
There's a
No other questions on this end, just, to remind everyone that if you are on, with a computer, you can write in the comment section there, and, you're more than welcome to unmute if you're on a phone as well. I believe *6 mutes and unmutes if you, want to share any opinions, comments, or ask questions.
I will say this again, the majority of our community, we get it. Even if there's some things out there that we're doing today, either not fast enough or, not to the membership or the community's liking, the majority of the members get it and support it. And we thank you for that. If we know of members that are not in that group, I have seen a few instances where, I was working at public safety when we first opened the park, the first week of, allowed access to members the first week of May, and I'm right outside of member service, helping that team as well. And I've been working with the maintenance team out in the field as well. We have run into some situations where, members are upset, they're angry. This has been a challenging season. I will be honest with you, when I took the job, this was not the first season that I anticipated, but we're doing the best we can. We're getting through it. My communication to this, or the comment to this, is, again, the majority of our memberships in our community get it. Thank you for the support. Thank you for what you're doing to help everybody get through this. Those that are angry, upset about something, please do not take it out on our staff. I've heard it up at member services. I've seen it in our public safety offices. I've seen it out in the park and the maintenance. If you have something that you're upset about, please come see me, or you can send me a note. The rest of the staff is here to try and support and do the best that we can. So continue all the support and appreciation from the membership and the community on that.
We do have another question.
Sure.
Was there an update on the new building? I don't think we covered North Shore building today yet, but so many people are saying what they believe it will be used for, et cetera. So we can probably.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. While all this is going on, there's a giant structure going up on that beach there. And so the North Shore building is, if you've already seen it, we've got the 4 main walls up. Those were supposed to go up in April. There was about a 4 to 6 week delay based on COVID and the state shutdown. Our supply chain for that building is back up and running. You will see in July the trusses going on, the roof being assembled. There'll be interior framing, and you'll see a lot more activity. There's also, I know Sydney in communications here, who's helping Josh out. We went out to the construction website and approved some pictures that they can start posting. We'll try and get some video and pictures of that assembly of the North Shore building. It is starting to get some life back into it. It was supposed to be completed by the end of this year. It will now be complete, targeted February timeframe, but it'll still be ready for occupancy and ready to go well in advance of our 50th anniversary for next year. So what are we going to use it for? The upper floor, or the main floor as you walk in, there will be a boardroom area where we can have working sessions and things of that nature. Then there's going to be a large open area. We'll start having our board of director meetings in that open area rather than the phase 1 pavilion. And there's a small kitchen in that area as well that can be rented out and used for activities, events. And then on the lower level, you're going to have the library is going to move from the retail center here up front by administration into that new building on one side of the building. And then on the other side, there's going to be 4 activity rooms where we'll have Wi-Fi, some TVs available. Those rooms can be signed out for adult activities. And then we are working on trying to do some adult activities like shuffleboard and things of that nature indoors on that lower level as well. And so we do have pictures of it. I have the drawings and the renderings here in the admin. If you have any questions, feel free to come see me. You can see the drawings. It's going to be a spectacular addition to the park, and it's 25 cents on the dollar, I think, for what we're building that building for. So it's going to be well worth it.
And one comment, just to follow up on that, the kitchen is a warming kitchen.
Warming
correct?
kitchen, yes.
Yep. So it is a small kitchen, but I know there were a lot of questions on that before. So it is a warming kitchen. And the number one priority and why we went with the building was for the safety of
Yes.
our members, because it will hold an occupancy in the case of a severe storm. The occupancy of it, say
It's about 1,100 members. And again, the 25 cents on the dollar is it is a FEMA grant that we received, and it will last 75 to 100 years, and it will sustain up to hurricane winds. So if we have severe weather, which I've heard is sometimes prone in this area,
Yep.
and we thank God every day that it hasn't injured anybody here, but that was, to Kimberly's point, really the number one reason for that building was the safety of our members, and it's a storm shelter.
Mhm.
And then we added those other things into it to make it multifunctional.
Yeah. And without the local support, the townships around us and the local governances, we won't be able to be able to have the opportunity. And I think the other thing too is we are looking at a possible revenue. It's going to be available to members to rent out. So it'll be
rent out,
another area that you could rent that out for a gathering, reunion, wedding, so forth.
Good question. Do we have anything else? Is that
Are there any plans for a new pool, indoor, outdoors?
So we continue to review that. If you remember, we did even at the end of the year, end of 19, beginning of 2020, we put the pool survey out there. We did get some feedback on that, both on indoor and an outdoor pool. We are evaluating both options. Again, a lot of our projects were halted just to understand where we're at financially and make certain that we're prepared for a season with COVID-19. And if you missed some of the earlier comments, as we start to committee meetings are starting to take place again, those were halted. So as we start to get our committees back involved and active and engaging in some of these conversations, you'll see a lot more of that activity pop up on pool committee. We didn't even talk about the lake study yet. The lake study has been posted from Josh and the communications group, and we're taking requests for individuals that want to be active and volunteer to do a lake study committee to help protect our number one asset, which is the lake, and make it safe, a safer place to be. So a lot of those things were halted, and we're starting in July to get those things back on track.
Mm-hmm. And we have a comment from Public Safety. They are just asking to please remind everyone that an appointment is needed in Public Safety. So if you can call there first or request an appointment from them first, the activity there is quite large, and just so they can streamline that, and they'd appreciate that and say thank you.
Jeff, another comment while we were talking about the lake. it always seems to cause a little confusion, is the lake treatments that we do. Those are scheduled online. They're on our calendar. And the way that they work is usually PLM comes out on Mondays and they do an assessment of the lake for areas that need to be treated. And then they'll typically notify our maintenance crew and our communication staff of where they're going to treat and the signs they're going to post with any swimming restrictions. And then we typically, as long as we get all of that communication, we'll send an update out, in advance of them doing the treatment on the lake. We missed a couple of those early this year. PLM came out early and did them early, and I think that's what led to some of the confusion last time. But it's always the same process, and regardless of what happens, just reminding everybody to look for those signs at the lake. Not every treatment has swimming restrictions, some do. But again, those are all on our online calendar and they're scheduled on the Monday of each week. But keep in mind that those treatment days may fluctuate. And if you want to check the schedule and then keep an eye out for those updates, we'll send them. We are scheduled for a treatment next week and I'm awaiting an answer back. I'm assuming, again, they're going to give us an update on Monday of where they're going to treat, the signs they're going to post. And then ideally we'll send those out in a rave text alert and via email to members.
Yes, great comments. Thanks, Josh.
Are there any actions scheduled from the lake results? I read low oxygen, etc.
So the lake study is out there, and the purpose and the scope of the committee that the board and I have reviewed is, you'll see towards the end of that study, there are some recommendations. Some of those recommendations we are already doing, like what Josh said, the PLM lake treatments and things of that nature. So there are some actions at the end of that study for better lake clarity, the oxygen levels. How do we improve those? Because those are needed for natural vegetation in the lake, which then is a natural habitat for our fish, which then helps our fish grow larger. And some of the feedback that we received from the members before I started was lake clarity is poor, fish growth is stunted, we have too many weeds. So the purpose of this committee is to review that study and take a look at the data and the recommendations at the end of that study and put a proposal in front of the board and operations, and then we'll vet that proposal with costs, and then we'll have to go forward with what we can do and can't do and communicate as such. So. Any other questions?
That was the last one so far.
That was the last one? Okay. Well, I don't want to cut anybody off. We still have 8 minutes, but if there's no other questions or comments, Kelly, I know you've been active on some of the comments here today. I don't know if the board has anything that they want to, communicate or provide any closing comments.
Yeah. I would just like to encourage our members to continue to send your guest passes out to your guests that will be coming into the park. Even though we're reverting back to the original plan, we still want to, like Jeff said, we still want to keep our staff as safe as we possibly can. And we all know that this COVID is not ended and it's going to continue on. So each member, if you could do your part and send those out like you currently are, we would greatly appreciate it. I know Keith and his staff would greatly appreciate it, and thank you for all the good comments we've been getting on on volunteering your services for some of our issues we're having that we're dealing with this COVID. It really brightens our day, really, to see that a lot of our members reach out trying to help to do the right thing. So thank you.
We did receive on the ballot, didn't we?
Yes, great comments, and amen to that with all the volunteers. Josh, do you have any closing comments from a communication standpoint?
Yeah, we are taping all of the meetings, the board meeting that was taped yesterday, the meeting that's taped today. Thank you to Austin. You can see him all there in the background hanging out. I wasn't able to make it down today for the park, so he was helping out with that. We're going to try to get those up and posted. Usually anything that happens over the weekend, we try to get up by the following Tuesday, and we'll post those online. They're on our Sandy Pines YouTube page, which if you go to our website and scroll down to the bottom, there's a link to the YouTube page. And we're also scheduling all of that stuff on our park cable channels. So channel 27.1, 27.2, 27.3 and 0.4. So 27.1 is a great communication tool right now that scrubs everything off of our website. It rotates through our weekly e-news, which has usually a top 5 blurbs of what's going on each week. Our event calendars, events and cancellations. If there are any cancellations, they publish on there. We also have weather on there and some general news info. So 27.1 is a great channel to keep up on all that. We also have all our event posters and everything on there for upcoming events. So if you can spare like 5 minutes to just sit down each day and take a look through that channel, that will give you a good view of everything that's going on in the park. Channel 27.2 is where we're putting all our meetings. So this meeting will be on there. The chapel events that we videotape, those are actually going to be live out at the chapel now, but we are speaking with the chapel crew about recording those and then getting them back to us so we can post them on the TV channel. So 27.2, you'll see all those videos. 27.3 is all of our sales listings. It pulls right off of our website. And then 27.4 is our cable channels. So again, if you have any questions about what's going on communication wise, just go to the website. Sandy Pines /keep in touch is kind of where we run down all the ways that we officially communicate. So the monthly footprints, the weekly flyers, the e-news, all of that is where our official updates are going to come through. We've got the Rave text platform, just a reminder on that. I know a lot of us experienced text after text after text alert. We are automatically piped into IPAWS, which is the state regional weather system. And whenever National Weather Service triggers a warning, it automatically sends texts out. So unfortunately, we don't control the weather texts, and we do feel that where we've been in the past with some severe weather, it's very important to get those out to members. So so just be patient with those, but all the other official texts, we try to balance those out for you. And we do have a new text opt-in, an SMS text opt-in that we didn't have before for associates and campers and members as well. If you are a member and you're in our database, you're automatically signed up to get our text alerts. If you are not, if you're an associate, a family member, a camper, you're not, but there is an SMS text opt-in. And if you go to our website and just do a search for SMS text, you'll see an update that we posted recently with all the updates. All you really have to do is reply to text Sandy Pines to 67283. I guess I'll say it here because it's recorded on the rebroadcast so you can see it. So text Sandy Pines to 67283, and that will opt you into all our alerts and cancellations, emergency alerts, rec updates, event cancellations, etc. And you can opt out of that anytime by just texting stopped to 67283. And then again, if you opt out, you can always come back in whenever you want. So just keep in mind all the ways that we are communicating. And again, as we kind of spoke earlier, just be cautious of the information that you get on social media. If it's not coming directly from the park, it's very easy for information just to get. It's like the old game of telephone. The more that it passes down the line, the more information can kind of get miscommunicated, we'll say. So just be cautious of that, please. And, please be an informed Sandy Pines member. We appreciate that.
Well said. Thanks, Josh. Kimberly, you got anything you want to add with?
And I was just going to share, we did have a couple questions regarding validation of petitions for newly elected or running board members. We do have 3 open spots on the board, and we have 3 petitions for election onto the board. So those will be validated first thing on Monday, and we will be sending an alert out to the membership on who those candidates are. We are also navigating with our legal counsel because there's 3 spots, 3 running, what that will mean for us as far as the election and other procedures that normally take place. So we will keep you posted on that first of next week.
Okay. Did I miss anybody for any closing comments before we wrap up here?
This is Ginny. I just wanted to thank everybody for their positivity. If we all work together and continue to remain positive, I think it goes a long way towards our staff, administration, board. I thank people for using the proper communication lines to email the board if you have a question, or email PSO if you have a question. And I think we're doing our best to get that information out to everybody so they do know where to go. But positivity, thankfulness goes a long, long way. And I want to thank everybody for the efforts in that area.
Yeah, great comments. Thank you, Jenny. We are at the 10 o'clock hour, and Ginny's a lot smarter than me. She stole all my comments for the end. We appreciate all the support from our board. We appreciate all the support from our members. Let's keep up the positive atmosphere out there. It has been a trying year for all of us, but I have seen it in other states where these types of parks have just been shut down until further notice, and we're blessed to have this wonderful place and to have to be able to use it and live here during the summer. So we appreciate everything. Again, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to Kathy Brott. She can set up an appointment on my calendar. You can reach me directly. My normal office hours are Tuesday through Saturday, and I have an open door policy, so I'm very willing to sit down and talk with anybody about anything. So appreciate everything that everybody's doing, and thanks for the great questions, and God bless. Thank you.